This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando.
Hey, this is SwagDean. This is Dice Commando. It's Destiny Friday, and I'm reaching out today for some community interaction and engagement. We're going to be talking about Smash Duos. It's a wild expansion to the Smash format for Star Wars Destiny. I released a bunch of decks already, but we got positive feedback from people, and I think there's more interest in playing around in this space, and I thought maybe I could stay and play a little bit more in this format, but there's actually a decent amount of options left with this. I threw a couple down here in the corner of things that I have done already in the duo space, and this did allow us to get some of the big name characters that didn't exist in Destiny Smash, like Darth Maul and Palpatine and Mace Windu and Qui-Gon Jinn, and so there was a lot of different things that had been impossible before, and this just made them possible, which I really enjoyed. There are still some big names left, and there's more we could go there, but I want to see, what does the community want? Are there some things out there that people would really like to see before I'm going to dive and spend more time developing these, maybe get a little bit of feedback from people, but I'm going to throw out some options. I'm going to throw out some ideas. We'll create some kind of a way for people to vote or throw out some things that they might like to see. But these are the kind of things I'm coming up with first. Some of these are more plausible than others. Some of these are probably more desired than others. But I have a couple caveats. One, if that character of that exact version, at least, already exists in Smash, it's out. So if they have another variant or something, so we've got Mill Princess Leia, if you wanted to choose the one from Awakenings that has a gun, that's fair game. But a lot of these, I don't want the confusion in a Smash deck if it's a repeat. Even though there are thematic pairings, and you'll see some where that actually does make it harder to make certain big name characters, because they might be limited in thematic pairings, and maybe their thematic pair already exists in Smash. So that's going to be the one caveat, is that I don't want to take them out I don't want to mess with them if they're already in Smash. And if I already have them in duos, that's also confusion. So we've got Qui-Gon, so I'm not going to do Awakenings era Qui-Gon again, because we've got a Qui-Gon. Same with Maul. If you wanted to do the terrible Legacies Maul, that's out. Same with Grievous, so on and so forth. Just for simplicity's sake, if they're already in a Smash Duos set, they're definitely out as well. So eliminating those just because I think they'd be confusing. Let's get into some options that I think are promising. This one is pretty popular, I would imagine, and it's Ahsoka Anakin. Now, Anakin, we do have some other versions. I'm allowed, because I'm creating a new hybrid character. I could take the angry, the emo kids Anakin, that's technically villain, but I could use that die if the 4 sides on this are ridiculous, because it's still going to be Anakin on the art and so on and so forth. So, but some kind of Anakin Ahsoka. Now, the other version of Ahsoka does exist in Smash, in that modified form, in that 2-part set I put out with her and Cad. But this pairing seems like it could be good. Like I said, I don't know if it's going to be this version of Anakin, but this combo. Because, like, this version of Ahsoka I couldn't really figure out with all the modifiers. But if we have some kind of version of her ability, and then the other die has base sides, that does do a lot of the fixing that, like, me trying to modify the deck and give you all the ways to deal with modifiers was just clunky. It's more plausible here in a duos concept where you just get the one modifier die and you can get one with base sides. Next one. We do have a Kylo, but there are some other. There's also the Kylo, I missed it, the Awakenings Kylo, but like a Kylo Snoke. Some kind of pairing there. Snoke was definitely meta. Kylo was definitely meta. And he would also be the if we use this version. And like if you just look at that die, if you take away his ability, maybe don't give him 12 health, a 1, 2, 2 and a pay side, like that's a middle kind of die. But Kylo and Snoke were both meta, and Kylo is that Kylo is the last one from the 2-player starters, and then all of them would be in Smash, which I think is kind of cool. But we also have Hux. So, like, is there a thematic fun thing you'd like to do? Would you like to see, the two guys trying to suck up to Snoke? Do you want to, there's already a Kylo. Would you rather see Hux sneak in somehow? His ability's terrible. I'd probably give him a new ability because it's awful. It's an awful special. So I'd probably have to come up with a new special for him. He would probably be more creating whole cloth if I used Hux. But it's an option. It's thematic, and these don't exist in Smash. This one is probably definitely going to be included in this next grouping, but the question is, which one do you do? I did a bunch of the Spectres in the last one, but Kanan and Ezra are not. So we have Zeb, we have Chopper, then we have Sabine, and we have Hera. They are all in Smash. But we don't have Kanan, and we don't have Ezra. And I have lots of options with the dice to combine to get an Ezra-Kanan pairing, which totally makes sense. But maybe there's people out there saying, hey, Kanan and Hera is kind of a thing. Let's take the old version of Hera, maybe give her a different special to make it, a little bit more universal. But maybe you want to see that romantic pairing. Or maybe you're like, hey, if we're cheating cards, Callus eventually turns good and, kind of works with the Spectre team. Is there a, Kanan Callus combo that people would like to see? There's a lot of room here that I can play with to make a good middle. And yeah, so I could even I could use this die and this one's abilities, or I can make an interesting hybrid that would give you the thematic pair of Kanan Ezra or Hera or Callus or something like that. But since everyone else in Spectre's in, they're a huge part of the lore. I think some combination of this will probably get incorporated. Night Sisters. We have a little bit of Night Sister activity with Savage has some of that, and we have the Asajj has some Night Sistery kind of things going on. But, mixing Talzin and Daka, or maybe Luce, just like the Night Sister die, because it's a decent die. There's definitely probably a good thematic thing. Now, Talzin was probably the most meta. She got used in more decks. She was very versatile, using her for Splash of Blue or just for fixing your dice. I feel like Talzin is an anchor if I'm going to do a Night Sister deck. The question is, do we go Daka, which is fun thematic? I don't know if we're going to do the Night Sister zombie nonsense with it. We might just take the die and kind of be more of a Talzin. Or, get more ranged action with the Luce. Or the Night Sister die. But I feel like there are still some Night Sister-y kind of tricks. The whole, odd number stuff with Talzin. There could still be some somewhat unexplored space in the Smash world. So This is another one I think is like a decent option in some kind of form. This is just kind of a generalized, like, what about Imperial leaders? I don't know which pairing would be ideal, but they all have damage sides, even if some of them are, like, heavier on indirect. I think Tarkin's ability is interesting, but, like, harder to pull off in the format. But, like, if we gave him a bunch of crappy dice, which is kind of what you did back in the day if you were building a Tarkin deck, just trying to get a lot of blanks, so you can remove 2 blanks. So, like, there's something potentially here with some kind of combination of your Imperial leaders that could probably be done, and lean into a lot of those Imperial cards, especially some of like the cool events and things that might not have a home already in Smash. I think those could be viable. In a similar way, we could do a Rebel or Resistance leader, so we can get out Akbar and Leia, or we could even get like Holdo or something like that mixed in if you wanted a Rebels Resistance kind of Smash deck duos. Yeah, it's certainly possible. I like Boosh. I was a big fan of Boosh. I built a bunch of Boosh decks. Padme Boosh was definitely something I ran. And we could do like a Rescue Han type deck with a Leia, Lando pairing or something. I'm not really sure thematically who would be better if we didn't do Lando. Obviously, his damage side, having 1 gun, is not great. But she has 3 damage sides, and obviously her ability is irrelevant when you have a pre-built deck. But getting an extra resource at Lando would be amazing, and so like there could potentially be something in that space. Similarly, we could take Boosh and pair her with Chewbacca, or another version of Han if we want to do like a romantic type pairing. In the same way, Kira and Han. So like the young Han, from the set that Kira was in is already in Smash, but like if we took one of the other Hans, we could do a Han Kira. Or we could do, we could build the version that they originally kind of wanted, which was this Chewbacca and this Han, where you're supposed to do a 3-die start in Awakenings, which is stupid. But here we can kind of fix that. Like, these dice together work, and they are half of a fair pairing, I think. Or would you rather try to do a Kira Dryden? His special would probably be change. He's tough. I mean, base sides 2s and 3s. If I left a special as is, like, obviously, I don't know if I would build the deck as gambly, but like, you really water your deck down with your other Smash partner. So Dryden would seem bonkers. I don't know that he would be a good choice, but he's a choice. And it's thematic. Finn, Rose. Finn is a big name, at least in the new era, and is not in Smash. He's not a great smashable character on his own, but the Awakenings Finn has all base sides. We could add a couple red villainy things if we wanted to harken back to this one, and Rose, Finn, and there could potentially get something there. Or do you want to bust in and get DJ, get the team that tried to, what was the scenario in The Last Jedi? Break the tracking device on the ship, and that whole Canto Bite heist situation. I don't know which one it would take. Finn DJ? That way you avoid Rose's not as universally special or useful special. Something like a Finn DJ and a Canto White pistol. I mean, this deck is starting to build itself. That could be a thing in Smash Duos. And what do I have at the bottom here? Okay, do we want to get some Inquisitors. And there is an opportunity to fix badly designed characters. So, like, this is one of the worst legendaries in the game. But a 3 pay side, 2 focus, that special could be good if I kept it that way. Fifth Brother is pretty dumb. I'd probably make it so that, like, whatever special they have would work. You'd have to do it because you can only have one special spelled out. So, like, one of their specials or, like, an Inquisitor-y type special would have to be given to them. But, like, that could be a way to, like, repair 2 poorly designed characters and have one that's maybe decent in duos. So, I do like the idea of, like, rescuing cards. You'll see that come up again on the other side. I have some more things like that. But, like, I don't hate the idea of trying to redeem these guys. And get some more Inquisitors. We do have 7th Sister in Smash already, but, there's definitely more to play with there. Up top here, we just have some of the big names that remain. So with Thrawn, we never got, like, a Rook character in Destiny, and Price already has her own Smash deck, so, like, Thrawn Price obviously would make sense. If we did the other version of Thrawn, and then like, do we want to do Mill? We could lean into, like, another hard Mill deck. That's possible. Actually, I think I even have some. Is it down here? Let's see if I can guess. I did. If we wanted to do Mill, we could do, like, old Thrawn and Ankar Plot. Or we could bring out Conan Mahdi, who's heavy discards. Like, we could do a Mill deck, villain Mill situation, and that would get Thrawn in. So Thrawn with Ankar, which was a meta deck, or Thrawn and Mahdi, which is probably more thematic. I'm not sure. They weren't really the same era necessarily. I guess they kind of were. They could have been coming up together. Mill is usually something that people love or hate. There's a couple characters that do it well. Leia is the only one that does it exclusively. There's other characters that can kind of pivot to it. If you did an old Thrawn and an Ankar, like, you could only Mill as its only function, really. I mean, I guess you could make some money and get focus sides, but, like, it would be similar to the Leia that we have, where, like, it really only functions as a Mill. But if people want that, there's an opportunity there. Big Yoda, if we wanted to get a Big Yoda in, Obi-Wan is probably the biggest name that he's tough. And I even knew, like, when I did the duos and I did the Kryze sisters, I'm like, if I take Satine away, I do make it harder to do that pairing of just taking, like, the starter Obi-Wan and Satine and making that a duos. But, like, Obi and the other Maz, the one that's not in Smash, so, like, that was a meta deck. That could be a duos deck if we wanted to do that. So it's not necessarily a good thematic pairing, but it's a meta reminiscent pairing that we could do that can get Obi-Wan in. We have 3 versions of Obi-Wan, all of them very difficult to smash on their own. But maybe we can come up with something with them. And for all of these, I'm not 100% sure who their pairing would be. Yoda could be with, like, any crappy Jedi die, because his dice are pretty bonkers. But that's all possible, viable. There is a Yoda in Smash, but he's not as aggressive. This is a Yoda that can hit you. But yeah, I feel like people are going to vote for at least one of those guys, just, like, being a big name that's not in Smash. Speaking of Jedi, so Luminara is terrible. Her special is garbage. We can give her a different special, I guess, if it was to do a duos. We also have guys like Plo Koon, Kit Fisto. Plo Koon's whole ability doesn't work in Smash, but we can ignore it because we're making a hybrid character. We can just get you a Plo Koon and Kit Fisto, like, they're working together, or, Luminara, like, their dice fit for the price range that we're looking at. So we could take one of them, or maybe even, like I said, Big Yoda, and then, like Plo Koon's dice aren't that scary outside of his ability. Same with Luminara. I don't know what her special would be. But like, there's potential there. These are still relatively big names that are not in Smash, other than Yoda, obviously he's in. That could be voted for, considered. Getting into some more names. Jin. So both versions of Jin, not very smashable. Her not having a resource side here is kind of a problematic. And this one, it's actually, they just costed her badly when they designed her, but like her die is, like a 2 discard's pretty disruptive. But, 2/2/1, yeah, everything else about it is actually kind of a middle die. So I think with a different ability or something like that, she would be possible. We already have Cassian in, but mixing Jin, one of these versions of Jin, and like something like Saw, could be interesting. Like I said, may or may not be able to keep his special, but obviously you wouldn't be able to load your deck quite the same way like you used to if you did the at least discarding from yourself, trying to discard, the pirate tank or Millennium Falcons, like the big cost cards. That you wouldn't be able to build your deck that way. So his special would definitely be more of a gamble if we used it. But like I said, we can always mix things up. But there's theme there. There's also bigger names. The Rogue One's a loved movie, and we did get Baze and Sheard in the last duo's deck. So I think it would be nice to get Jin in. Just not 100% certain how that would manifest. I feel like this die is the easiest to work with. It looks more middle-y than this one. And, a little more versatile with the resource side. Saw, if we change this, well, it's special, it's just kind of a gamble. You could just use it as a mill thing, like just rip from your opponent and take what you get from the damage. That could be fun. I don't hate that. It's not a bad idea. Okay, so the Awakenings Dooku is in Smash, but the other versions are not. There is an Asajj in there, but she's interesting. But she's also a beloved character. We have things like Magna Guard. So, like, do we want to get like a big Dooku and a Magna Guard, or one of the smaller Dookus and Asajj? Do a thematic separatist, master apprentice thing here with Dooku and Asajj. So while Dooku and Asajj do exist in Smash, it's a little bit different flavor if we were to combine them. I love Christopher Lee and Count Dooku personally, so I'm going to consider it. But let's see. Like I said, I want to give people options of things to throw their name behind. And lastly, just like some weird ones that could be interesting. Well, we have a Jabba. It's the Jabba that like grabs mitigation, makes money, can mill. This one, like the crazy indirect based on your specials one, like it could be fun. It would give me an opportunity to put a bunch of cards that aren't in Smash or just like not good in any other deck other than this one. Maybe that's a thing. So like a Jabba Bib Fortuna or something. Or maybe I do this Jabba and you have the Gambly special thing. And then give him like the terrible IG-88 from Awakenings era, where it has a special and the special is supposed to be you play a weapon on yourself that doesn't get rolled in. It's a really bad special. But if that special plus this one, just give him this special. So you'll have 2 die that can get it off. And it's thematic. IG-88, Jabba, bounty kind of stuff, but also a bunch of yellow, special heavy cards and dice. Like that could be fun. I could get into that. I'm getting into it as I talk about it. So that's an option. And there's something like Kragan. So Kragan is amazing. I loved Kragan. I played with him a lot at covert missions like before the game died. His dice are pretty strong, and Sonara San is already in Smash, so like his obvious pairing is gone. But Kragan with like a weaker piratey type could be a non-unique, like the Master Smuggler or something like that. could be combined with Kragan and get him in there. I really liked him. I don't know that this one's going to get as many votes. His ability would be kind of busted. Could be busted in Smash. So he might be tough to balance. I don't know exactly how he would manifest, how much I'd have to tweak him. Because I already have, a 2, 3, and a 3 damage side to contend with. Obviously, I can flex his health and, so on and so forth. But he might be tough. But I love him. I wanted to throw it out there. And if there's other things people think of, I didn't, you can toss it out. I feel like all of these feel possible to me, while I don't necessarily know exactly right away what I would do with them. Especially some of the big guys up top. Like, I don't 100% know how I would land on them, but a lot of these seem plausible. But if there's another character you really love, you want to throw it out, I can certainly ponder it and see if something comes up. But this is kind of what I want to see. Like, what of these, what are you gravitating towards? What excites you? What do you think you'd like to see in Smash Duos? Especially for some of these where I'm tough. Like, do you really want to see Han Chewie? Is it Han Leia? Is it Han Kira? Some of these where I have a couple different decisions to make. Is it Kanan Ezra? Is it Kanan Hera? Like, where do you jump? Where do you guys think you would like to go? And then I'll go into the lab and see if I can make a couple more Smash Duos decks. I've already reached out to Tank. Tank said he's willing to help me out with some of the art again, because the art worked out, I think, pretty well with what he made before. I dig it. So, we'll have that going. I'll put these together. I'll probably do a series. Like, I'll kind of go behind the scenes and how I design them. We'll do some of this kind of in the open. And then once I have something I feel decent about, I'll make a video on each one so people can build them if they would like to expand their Smash Duos or Smash collections in general. So we'll have some more fun jank with Destiny. It's a longer video than I've been doing lately. I hope you made it here to the end. I want to see people voting. If I don't get any votes, I'm just going to just scrap this thing. I'll move on. I got a busy life. I can do that instead. But if people want to see this stuff, I'll take the time. I'll make some jank for us all. So thanks for hanging with me. And as always, go Commando.